Welcome to this new video about Gran Turismo 7. A few days ago, in the game, I had fun sorting the cars in my garage by mileage. I just wanted to see which car I had driven the least. And among the cars I had driven the least, one car instantly caught my eye. The Volkswagen 1200. The Beetle. It's a car I had never driven until today. So actually, if you look at the car's odometer, it's at 5 km. And it's just that I drove a little bit to film the introduction of the video. Other than that, I've never used it, whether for work or to make videos. So it's a car that could go a bit unnoticed, except that in Gran Turismo 7, this car is one of the few swappable models in the game. That means you can install an engine that's much bigger and much more powerful than the one it originally has. And usually, on this kind of car, that gives some pretty funny results. Not necessarily super fast cars to drive, but usually cars with really strong acceleration and sometimes cars with completely over-the-top physics. I thought we could try that on video for another swap video, and maybe this way we'd discover a fun car to drive. This reminds me of the Abarth 595 since I see it entering the same race as last year with the swap. Exactly. All the weight's in the back, like the Beetle. It's one of the best cars in the game for wheelies, riding just on the rear wheels. We'll see how it handles in terms of physics. On Gran Turismo 7, this car is completely stock and not very powerful. This car weighs over 700 kg, has 35 horsepower, and is unique to drive because all its weight is in the back. Our car has very soft suspension and thin tires. In short, it's actually the opposite of what's found in modern cars today. Before installing the swap on this car, I wanted to test it without the swap first. With the upgrades maxed out, I always like to see what it can do with the upgrades maxed out on small engines like this. We can put the wide kit on and customize it, but not every side of the car has parts available. It's not my thing. I do think chrome on retro cars looks cool, but removing it just makes them look weird. We take off the front bumper and it really gives it more of a military vehicle look. So now, it's going to be the same for the back. Oh, but this is fine. This is kind of fun. Come on, let's go. Why not the spoiler? The only shame about this game is hoping it comes someday. In an update or maybe in the next one, Gran Turismo, it's the addition of customized tires in terms of their appearance. Gran Turismo 7 offers a more realistic customization approach than other games. Still, being able to put brand new tires on that car would be pretty cool. So the base engine seems to be suitable. It's still quite upgradable. There are already a lot of ultimate parts, so that's a pretty good sign. Let's be honest, the engine is small to begin with and also old. We shouldn't expect any power miracles. But on the other hand, what's cool is that we'll probably manage to get it under 700 kilos. Yeah, so now that's starting to get pretty impressive. We're still getting over 500 pp even with minor downforce tweaks and adjustments. On the other hand, it's true that the fact we couldn't modify the parts at the front, well, actually, we could have, but honestly, it just didn't look good at all. We can't adjust the car's front downforce. Here, with the Beetle, we had to choose between an ugly car or downforce. And in the end, well, I kind of did a mix of both, honestly. The spoiler actually looks okay, but I think some people will find it really ugly. Now it works better. We switched to a 5-speed gearbox from the original 4-speed that bastard. Originally, it was a 4-speed gearbox that was very long. We've switched to a shorter 5-speed gearbox, so the tuning tool now lists the top speed at 250s. That still seems really high to me for a car that only has 120 horsepower. We're already struggling to reach 170, so 250 seems impossible. On the other hand, one thing that's really cool is that, since the car is very light, for one, it brakes really well. But on top of that, the chassis is really good. Actually, it's kind of unlikely, but the Beetle is a really good car. For racing, it competed in 500 pp. I think with a shorter gearbox, and maybe nitro, but even just the shorter gearbox. And by playing on small tracks like Suzuka, Tsukuba, or Laguna Seca, I think it really dominates. Look at how sharply it turns. It's crazy! I barely tuned, just maxed rear downforce, and the car is amazing. Look at how easily it goes through, while really being at 100% on the throttle. We've got Grand Touring. 3 car-like curves. I'm almost reassured because with the swap, we might have a really good race car instead of something unmanageable. Either way works for me, but it might not be so bad here. We caught up with a 959, still an amazing 80s car and a real laboratory on wheels. And we passed it. Easy, easy, easy. But yeah, the Beetle on Gran Turismo 7, it's a hell of a ride. Damn good braking, pretty good acceleration, up to 4th gear. On the other hand, when it comes to VMAX, and for acceleration after that, it's really not great. The good news is that we'll probably be able to fix this problem thanks to the engine swap, since this car can actually be swapped. And we'll be able to install an engine from Porsche, the M64, which is a 3.6-liter flat six that, right from the start, doubles the power. For your information, I believe the M64 is an engine that should come from Porsche. Of course, it's the 964 generation, I think. So the Porsche 91180s, probably actually the Porsche 911 the best generation in terms of looks, it's incredible. It may not match the latest 911 Grand Touring, 3 Rennsport's power, but I think it can still be wild. So, on the other hand, I'm a little bit disappointed. Well, I'm a little bit disappointed. No, it's okay, it's still cool, but this engine isn't as upgradable as I thought. Well, in terms of tuning, there are still a lot of parts available. On the other hand, it's impossible to put a supercharger on it, and impossible to put a turbo on it. The power gain is impressive. Over 500 horsepower for a 700 kc car is great. So, if the car keeps the same behavior as before, when it had 500 with just more acceleration, it's going to be a very, very, very good car. Let's go. We're facing some tough opponents, including a RUF up front. However, I think the camera is very poorly positioned. Oh, for a car like that, it's going to be weird to drive. So it's not necessarily going to be bad, but I think it's going to be hard to drive. Well, it still brakes well, right? That's not the problem. It's just that when you accelerate from a stop, really, the car sinks into the ground at the back actually, like it's an old generation Porsche. All the weight is at the back of the car. So, when you accelerate hard, the rear sinks a bit and the front lifts up a little. You lose grip fast, especially on windy roads. And you can quickly find yourself in a situation where, in a turn like this, you just have no more grip at the front and you just, wow. Ho, ho, ho! And you? Lost steering wasn't the issue. We just came in too fast and took off. On the jump. The engine still sounds great. It's wow. It's very, how can I say, complete. That is to say, even at high revs, it still delivers well. It's a good naturally aspirated engine. You know, it's not one of those naturally aspirated engines that run out of steam. No, that's actually pretty cool. On the other hand, as you saw in the graph, at 250 km/h, the car has no aero, so it'll feel weird to drive. It's very special because the car is extremely good in certain situations, but in my opinion, extremely bad in others. Unfortunately, on a track like the Nürburgring, we'll face both situations. Well, we're hitting almost 300 here. Almost 300, but even at 300 sometimes we lose the front wheels. It's really weird to drive. Still, in older cars, let's say, a bit older, it's not junk. But you know what I mean. In basic cars that have really limited performance and are compatible with swaps, I think it's one of the best. Actually, it's 50,000 times easier to handle than a swapped Jeep Willys, an Abarth, or a 6th Gen Fiat 500. Honestly, the chassis is still okay, right? There would be a few adjustments to make. I think that with a suspension adjustment, the car would lean less and it would be a lot more efficient. But honestly, even without any adjustments, it's impressive to see how it handles things. Honestly, I think that with just this swap, without too much engine improvement, so staying within roughly reasonable power levels, around, I don't know, about 250 horsepower more or less. Actually, that's really just like you swap the car, you don't upgrade it, well, you don't upgrade it. Fully upgrade the chassis and swap without upgrading the engine to stay near 600 pp. I think it's an excellent car, because these are categories where you won't necessarily reach very high speeds, and where acceleration is what matters more. Given her strong performance in the 500cc, and now in the 700, things are honestly going well and we're managing fine. We're catching up to a LaFerrari. In the 600 category, this car is actually ideal. Let's hit this straight away and use the nitro to see our top speed. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind you that if you enjoy these kinds of videos on Gran Turismo 7, I make them regularly, especially now that I've discovered you can filter by mileage. There are plenty of cars I've found in my garage that I potentially have good video ideas for to show you in the game. So don't hesitate to subscribe for the next ones. Also, of course, don't hesitate to leave a like on this one. I also want to remind you that I regularly stream on Twitch. Depending on the time, we meet at least weekly to play a game or chat. Automobile. Don't hesitate to follow me or use your Prime. As always, I'll share the link for you. Sure, we're almost at the famous straight. I'll switch to my external camera. But this car is really super weird. The camera is really fixed low on the car, so you really can't see much of the road ahead. Plus, the car's big suspension movements when accelerating make it a nightmare to drive from this view. I usually like the fixed camera in Gran Turismo 7, but here it's just terrible. Oh, there, you see, it's sliding a bit. It's sliding a bit. Come on, let's go. We're going to use our nitro. But with the nitro we lose grip. Funny, isn't it? We'll easily reach 300 kilometers per hour. For this car, you would actually need a 6-speed gearbox. In the end, it would be cool to have that, especially since, in my opinion, the Porsche 964 must have manual 6-speed gearbox ease. It's a shame not to have it here. Without nitro, we could have more top speed, but the gearbox would be a bit long. Or really, you would need a long 5th gear, it's still short. Maybe, oh wow. It's okay, it could have been worse. That's all for today's video. See you tomorrow. Bye.